What's up, everyone? Today we have a Husqvarna, K770, but that's not going to be the point of this video. The point of this video is the person that brought this to me, his friend wants to sell it to him, and we'll see how good of a friend he is here shortly, for, I think he said like $250 or something like that. And he brought it to me and see if it's even worth it. He had some concerns because of the general condition, but it's a concrete saw. These are never clean, and they are special level dirty, every single one of them. Having said that, when I first got it, I double checked this. The compression release is not engaged, so there should be full compression. However, I would wager there's 10-15 psi in there, if that. I don't even think, maybe if I pulled fast enough it will give me another reading, but I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple things. Now, there are a few things that could be causing this problem. More likely than not, the engine's toasted, and the best way you're going to find that out is by looking at the cylinder. Now, most two-cycle equipment, if you're buying it from a person, maybe their garage, who knows, you are going to be able to look at the piston through the muffler or the exhaust. Now, if you have like a steel, like that one right there, which coincidentally also has a bad motor, you're not going to be able to. So if it's a standard two-cycle, no 4-mix, no none of that nonsense, you're going to want to look through the muffler. If they don't let you look through the muffler, then I would probably wager you shouldn't continue. But let's say you pull on it and you just want to give it the benefit of the doubt, or if it's cheap enough, yeah, go right ahead and buy it. I mean, this was like 20 bucks. Oh yeah, there's like $20 in parts here, easy. Just for the couple covers would be 20 bucks. So, but this is not 20 bucks. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna take off. In order to get to this one, now yours is going to be different. Yours is a chainsaw, maybe to take off the bar. If you're a weed eater, maybe to take off a cover. You know, whatever you have to do, get to the muffler. My particular one, if you were looking for a concrete saw, majority of the time, you have to remove the whole assembly to get the access to the muffler. That's usually just a couple bolts. There's a clutch right here. Belt comes off, the whole thing comes off. It's relatively easy. It can be a little cumbersome sometimes depending on the design. I'm not going to go into that one, so I'm going to take this off, and then we will take the muffler off and we'll take a look inside. And we have the muffler off, and when looking at it, my apologies, I did kind of look at it already. That's the top of the cylinder, and I see dirt and mud, and no, that was not from me. It's been there. If you twist the engine around, which is actually pretty easy when you don't have the recoil on, you see scarring, marring, scrapes, gashes, all those not so great words you can say about a piston. Now, at this moment in time, I would say this is junk. It's good for parts. If I were to buy this, I would not pay more than $100. I say that because at the time when I was looking at it, granted, I spent a whole 5 minutes looking for parts, and I did find a kit or two. The piston and cylinder, everything included, including new tune-up parts, because you don't want to put a dirty air filter in there as well. I mean, that just causes the whole problem to begin with. Potentially even a belt, because the belt didn't seem all that great, and just general stuff like that. We were looking at roughly $280 worth of parts, which for me is not that big of a problem. I'd have 380 in this. I can sell this for $675 all day long. But for him, you know, that's just the parts. Then he has to pay $250. Let's round that down. It's $500 plus my labor, which I'm not going to, I don't usually say, but for something like this, it's going to be about 150 to 200, because it will take quite a while. And probably I give him a discount, because if I can record it, I do give him a discount, about 150, hour and a half or so. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be in there for $650 at least. At that point in time, you have $350 before you get to a new one. Maybe more than that. I don't remember. I think this is roughly $1,000 machine. Maybe it's more now. I haven't looked it up. Everything's more expensive. But putting this aside, that's something you have to weigh in. That's this scenario. If you have a different scenario, well, let's say maybe a leaf blower, real small leaf blower, you're thinking about paying 20 bucks for it, kit's 40, a new one's like 180, and you think you can do it yourself, yeah, go right ahead. Just know you could be walking into a little bit of an expensive proposition if you didn't see something else. But that's your own risk, and to be honest, that's really not a whole lot of money. You know, you could be out a whole lot more. Now, a couple things you're going to want to look at. If you pull in a 2-cycle equipment, you get no compression. You could do what we just did. You look at the piston, you see it's bad, don't bother. Unless you know you want to fix it, and if you see an ad, look up the parts beforehand. Have that idea in your head, and even bring it to, like, on your phone, and bring it to the attention of the seller. Hey, I have to replace this. It's this amount of money. This brand new is only blah 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 dollars. I'll give you this amount, assuming that it's not cheap enough to begin with. Like this, I would pay, like I said, like $100. That's it. That would be what I would assume is the value of a broken machine like this. Couple things you can potentially cause a misdiagnosis if you can't look at the piston. The compression release could be stuck. Maybe it's stuck in the open position and you're letting all the compression out. Sometimes you'll hear like a hiss. Majority of the time you will, especially if you pull on it fast enough, and that's fine. Something else that can happen is the rings could just be stuck, but in order to really know that, you would have to look at the piston and cylinder, or at least the piston. You know, and if you can't look at it, then that's fine. But if you were to look at it and everything looks golden except maybe the top is kind of blackened, you could get away with maybe even just releasing those rings if you can, or buy a new set of rings and take the old rings out, use the old piston, or even get the new piston if you, because the piston's usually not that expensive. It's usually the cylinder that's expensive. So you know, weigh your options. Now, if you go and buy or look for a piece of equipment like this and it does have compression, but it's just not starting, you've seen it 1,000 times on my channel. Majority of the time it's fuel. You might have another spark related issue. All those are inexpensive and generally not that hard to fix. However, no compression, especially what we just saw, is bad. So I'm going to leave you at that. Leave a comment if you think this is worth it. If you agree with my assessment, put a thumbs up if this helps you. If you have any particular machines you are trying to buy, you want to have a little run by with me, feel free to leave a comment. I check them all the time and I'd be happy to give you my opinion. Other than that, I'm going to leave you with this. Put a thumbs up if it helped you. Definitely subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video. You have a good rest of your day. Whoa, hold the phone. So I did a little research, and that original mount was a very apparently expensive website. It was roughly $280. That was with a couple, like I said, the air filter and everything. I found all the gaskets, piston, cylinder, everything else. It's not made by Husqvarna, but it is apparently a kit. It had a 4 out of 5 star rating, $129, and that has everything, even a spark plug and potentially even the air filter. If not, it's still only like $8 to $10, so that's not all that bad. So I'm going to leave you at that. I'm still going to contact the owner. It may or may not be worth it to him. But everything I said after this, just realize that I said after looking it up a little bit further, it's still valid. But just know the numbers are a tad bit on the low end or the high end.